Is it rolling, Bob?
It is rolling.
Okay. Everybody thinks my head's full of nothing, wants to put his special stuff in, fill the space with candy wrappers, keep out sex and revolution, but there's no hole in my head. Too bad.
At first, it was that I couldn't do my work at the community health center. And I just could not get my charts done. And nobody can do their charts all the time. I mean, it's a really horrible job in that way, that part. But I was there sometimes till 2 a.m, and that was not uncommon. And it was like, what the heck is going on? I just couldn't do it. So, I went to my doctor and they said, well, you're depressed, which of course I was. And so they put me on depression medicine, and it helped some, and it wasn't getting better. It was getting worse. So I took a leave of absence to see if I could get myself together, and that was for several months. And then I came back and it wasn't any better. I just couldn't do it. I could not do the job, and it was just the perfect job. And so I left and I went on disability. And I don't know how long ago that was. 10 years? Maybe, I don't know, something like that. But I miss it. I miss it terribly. I worked with homeless people. I could be sort of a social worker, which I like. And but have a tangible thing to offer. I can get you medicine, I can get you a place to live, I can, and I can get you on better medicine, and I can talk to you about your problems with your family. It's this sort of social work plus medicine. It's good. And then when I couldn't do that anymore, it was like such a loss. I see things that other people don't see. And mostly, it's not scary, it's kind of interesting. It's like things are distorted. So I'm looking at something and all of a sudden I think it's something else. And I can't look at it and exactly figure out what it is at first. The hardest thing for me is putting objects together in space. Like figuring out how to put a jacket right side in or the other way. Or putting on my coat and finding the right hole to put my arm in. It's objects in relation. So I see something over there, and then it sort of seems like it moves a little bit. It is getting worse, for sure, and what it's getting worse is just more distorted. I don't have any fears about it. I'm fascinated by it, and I think that's a good thing that I know. I've lived in that medical world because I like it. I mean, I don't like having Alzheimer's, but it makes it more interesting and more tolerable. What the neurologist said is I have a very unusual version of Alzheimer's that is, most of the effect is visual, is in my eyes, and it's not literally in my eyes, but the part of the brain is seeing. And that part is the most distorted. And what I think is, in fact, that may have been a good thing. because, my intellect is pretty intact. I can't do what I used to do, but I can think. I can't read because I can't read the paper. Like if someone hands me a newspaper, I can read a line or two, but I can't just read. It doesn't just flow just the way you usually read. Mostly I don't read anymore, and that's a huge loss. Is this one mine?
Yeah. There's a spoon in it. Should I take it out?
Yeah, that's good.
Hell yes, and I'm a damn good one.
I don't know what the year is now at all. I don't know what day of the week it is. My date of birth is something that I've done over and over and over and over again, and it's been programmed into my brain. But things that I don't need anymore, I'm just letting it go. My social security number, I could say that, but I don't need to know my phone number. It's not written down someplace on my phone. Like some memories pattern themselves in a way that I can recall them more easily. It's like a maze. Sometimes I can go right through the maze to exactly where I want to be and what's the information that I'm looking for. Sometimes I can't. Sometimes I just shut my eyes and relax and it'll pop out. The worst thing to do is get stressed. And if I'm relaxing, it's much better. And that clearly is good for everybody. Now that I'm here, it feels a lot better. My life feels better and more manageable and more worth living, because I come in here and I relax. And it's, that's what I need, just quiet time, quiet brain. Last night, a bunch of us went upstairs to the 9th floor to listen to some music. Some people came in and sang for us. And it was quite crowded. It was a lot of people, and I wasn't having a good time. And I got so crabby, between the noise and the crowds and everything. I just came in here. I was like, oh, thank you to come in here, and it's just serene. It's just perfect. Some of what it's made it easier for me is understanding the process of illness. Just accepting it and not feeling like there's, some fault on my part. It's just the way it is. My maternal grandmother, her side of the family, she had it, and her brother had it, and her sister had it. And my great Aunt Betty was in an asylum somewhere in Boston. And the stories of her was that she was hallucinating that the doctors were coming into her room and raping her. It's pretty awful. We both adopted together a child from India. And meanwhile, we already had a son who was just a little guy. It's not going to be ever a little guy again. And they're both great, and it's a trip to have children. It's really amazing. Probably both the hardest and the best thing I've ever done. Well, I see what you mean. There are no boundaries to the love that you have with a kid, and nothing that you wouldn't do for them. They're very helpful. They're wicked kind to me. It's very nice. I think that's a good thing. I think it's good to learn about taking care of people. And that gives everybody something good. I feel good because they take care of me, and then they feel good because they're taking care of me. It's all good. One of the biggest losses is my relationship with my children. And they're great, and they come to see me, and they love me, and, you know, I mean, they're teenagers, and teenagers are ready to start leaving their families anyway, but I miss living with them, and I miss seeing them more. And you know, as I lost my faculties, I couldn't do things. Like one day, it was hot, you know, it was a hot summer day, and I couldn't drive. I couldn't drive to the beach. So Shilpa and I decided we were going to take the bus. So we went to the bottom of the hill and sat on Shelburne Road in the bushes because it was hot. So we were crouched in the bushes. We had the schedule, and the bus didn't come. And it was like an hour. We were sort of going back to the house and looking at the schedule. Why isn't the bus coming? And the bus never came. And it's just like I just wanted to take her to the beach. I wish I could make everything hard go away, but that's not life. When I was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, I went to the memory disorder clinic several times, a million times. And one day this woman was doing a little test to me, and she throws these cards out, and I'm supposed to tell her how many has she seen before, and then we do it again. I keep doing it and see how much I can retain. And we were done with that, and she said, you know, you helped me a long time ago when I was having a hard time and in a difficult situation, and I've never forgotten you. And you know, it made me feel great.
Everybody thinks my head's full of nothing, wants to put his special stuff in, fill the space with candy wrappers, keep out sex and revolution, but there's no hole in my head. Too bad. Call me a dupe of this and the other, call me a puppet on a string. They don't know my head's full of me and that I have my own special thing, and there's no hole in my head. Too bad.
That was a good one.
I have lived since early childhood, figuring out what's going on. I know what hurts, I know what's easy, when to stand and when to run, but there's no hole in my head. Too bad. So please stop shouting in my ear. There's something I wanna listen to. There's a kind of bird song up somewhere. There's feet walking the way I mean to, and there's no hole in my head. Too bad. There's no hole in my head.